Why is imagination so important?
Well, imagination is the tool that Source itself uses to create. And we as a human species have been gifted with the same power of our Creator, the same power of Source, and that is imagination. So every time we connect with imagination, we start to imagine things, we become creators. We are creators, and we are here to create. And this is a creative process. So the tool is our imagination. When we imagine, we invite life to co-create with us. When we imagine, we are talking with Source. We are talking with our soul. We are talking with our soul family. We are talking with life. And we are welcoming life and all these ingredients of life to co-create with us and do something that never existed before. And of course, then there is a second factor that comes to place, which is our uniqueness. So the imagination comes through us, and then we exercise through action. We exercise our uniqueness, and the combination of two create a potentiality that didn't exist before.
How can you and I and our friends and anyone else that wants to, how can we co-create together? What is co-creation?
The act of co-creation is it's orchestrated by resonance. So as we navigate through the experience, in this case the earth experience, there are millions, infinite amount of experiences available to the soul, but as we navigate through the earth experience, our vibrational offer creates sounds, creates resonance, and then at that resonance other individuals that are synchronized, tune in with those frequencies will come along, and those will be opportunities for us to co-create together. When that happens, is a sign that there is a possibility. It might be a possibility of a few seconds, or a few minutes, or a few hours, or a few weeks, or a few years, or a lifetime possibility. But it is a possibility for us to create or to further trigger the process of remembering who we are. So how do we co-create? Once we establish a connection through resonance, we co-create through the exercise of our uniqueness, joy, and imagination. So me and you, we meet, we feel a resonance, and then we start to dance together in a way that our joy, our imagination, and our uniqueness start to create something, start to move energy. And we start to, of course, to take action, because if you don't take action, nothing happens. This is a physical experience, so it needs action. And then from there, more resonance is created, more frequencies are offered to the environment, and then eventually more people either way will step at the side because they are not in resonance, or they will come closer because they feel resonance. And so the co-creation might become larger or might not. It doesn't matter. It is a dance.
So we talk a lot about source, and a lot of people say that's God flowing through us. And so we're describing God as a source of power and love and other things. How do you describe source?
I usually don't use the word God because it's been overused and is infected with a lot of conditions and beliefs and programming. That's why I prefer source, because source is more neutral. So to answer your question, we all are source. There is nothing that can exist outside of source. Source is everything that exists and also everything that doesn't exist. So it's not that there is source out there and we are here. Everything is source. We are source. Now, source, we can say, has a problem. And I said in a kind of joking way, but it has a problem, meaning that when you are everything, if you are everything, you cannot have an experience. It's like a painter that is in front of a white canvas. Until he doesn't create contrast, until he doesn't put some colors or some lines on the canvas, there is not experience. There is not a creative process. So source, in order to experience itself, create the illusionary idea of fragmentation, of separation. You cannot be separated by source because everything is source. However, you can create the illusion of separation. And so source starts to fragment itself in an infinite variety of universes, of holograms, of dreams, of matrix and operating systems and densities and dimensions, an infinite amount of creative processes. And then the soul, which is also a fragmentation, an illusionary fragmentation of source, has the ability, through the idea of free will, to choose which of these dreams to dive into in order to have experiences. And every time the soul has experiences and creates, and because the soul also is a creator, source, we can say, gets an orgasmic sense of self, expand its sense of self. So that is the dynamic, and of course this is a very abbreviated explanation, but everything that exists is source. You are source, I am source. We are source having a physical experience right now, entering a matrix, an hologram called Mother Earth, or human experience. And in order to do so, as soul, we have to wear an avatar, a costume, which is this amazing body, so that we can navigate through the reality that the hologram Earth creates. So that's what source is, that's what we are. We are source, and we are having a physical experience right now.
So I know we're in a hologram, and it's to me, it's like a glowing light with different projections. And so can you explain what the hologram is in your words that we are all in?
Well, the hologram, or the matrix, as you want to call, is just a dream which is created by souls like us, where there are some rules and regulations through which the soul can have an experience. So there is a curriculum, right? Me and you as souls, we fall in love with Mother Earth. We were looking through the infinite possibilities in front of us for our next adventure. And we fall in love with this little tiny matrix called Mother Earth, this blue-green pulsating light. And we first were curious about it, then as we look deeper into it, we started to get fascinated by the vastity of possibilities that this university offer to the soul. And one of them is different from other universities. These really give the ability to the soul to express his uniqueness. The earth gives to the soul the ability to be really, to express his unique expression, to express his uniqueness in terms of creativity. Other operating systems do not offer this possibility. They are more like communities that more or less kind of walk the path all together simultaneously. In this transformational center called Mother Earth, this is an experiment in diversity and is an experiment in uniqueness. And as for the soul, it's fascinating and is exciting because you get really to play, you get to an opportunity to really play like maybe no other places in the multi-universe range of possibilities.
So would you say our avatars are looking machines to where we can project our soul or our consciousness through and we can create that way? Or how would you describe our avatar and how it interacts with Mother Nature?
Well, when a soul chooses a matrix or a dream to go deep into and to have the experience, in order to do so, it has to wear an avatar. So if you are Pleiadian, you choose the Pleiadian game, you wear a Pleiadian avatar. If you choose the Andromedian, I don't know how you say in English, Andromedian game, you wear the avatar for that operating system. In this case, if you want to navigate through the Earth, you wear the human avatar. The human avatar, it's, to my opinion, is the most sublime piece of art. Is made of the best of the best of the best. And when it functions at its full potentiality, gives to the soul extraordinary, infinite possibilities. However, in the last 10,000 years, we agree to certain manipulation in the experience on Earth, and so our avatar has been shut down for about maybe 90% of its capability. So in the last 10,000 years, we really didn't have a full human experience. We really forgot, we don't know what really being humans means, because we've been living in a matrix that is being compressed by a series of agreements that we made with certain extraterrestrial families. And so the avatar that we know right now is functioning only at a fraction of its capability. And yet, it gives us a lot of amazing experience anyway.
If we were to function at a fuller capability, how would you think it would be different than it is now?
Well, we are going soon to go back to function in full capability. For those who decided at this quite intense transition in time, decided to continue the evolutionary offer that Mother Earth gives to us in a matter of few years, maybe a decade or maybe less. We will eventually reactivate our avatar, which means our DNA will be completely active. It means our pineal gland will be completely active. It means that the ego won't be anymore part of the avatar, because the ego is a huge impediment for the human experience. It creates distraction constantly, and it gave us wonderful experiences because we learn a lot from those distractions, but it's an implant that is not part of the original avatar. So once that is removed, we are now completely in sync with both the internal avatar and the outside Mother Earth and what it has to offer. It's going to be an amazing experience.
So we were talking a little bit ago about the difference between manifesting and creating. So in your version of manifesting, it was more into the matrix and money and things like that, whereas creation is more about receiving. Or could you explain the difference again for manifesting?
Yes, when we arrive here as infant, little babies, we are naturally creators. We are completely focused on the fleeting moment, on the here and now, and we navigate without the idea of past or future, and there is no ego in that moment for the first few months, few years, and so we are in constant creation mode. Then we are discouraged from creating, and we are invited to manifest. There's a big difference between being creator and being manifestors. There's nothing wrong with manifesting a beautiful house or a career or a villa or a car or something powerful or whatever. It's part of the game and it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. So manifesting is, for the most, coming from a sense of lack. So I need something in order to feel more complete. I need something to feel more whatever. But it also is a good thing, because I might need some tools to create. I might need a beautiful piano to play music. So it's beautiful to create, to manifest. However, creation is when we are completely connected with our true essence. And that's the moment when we connect with our imagination and we start to download information through imagination that has the ability to crystallize through our uniqueness situations, vibration, energy fields that are going to be impactful to not only the human species but to the whole multi-universe. So at this point, as we are moving from this old dream of the inverted matrix to the new dreams, which is a reflection of the true organic experience of Mother Earth, we are going rapidly to shift from manifesting and accumulating matter to creating with the purpose of evolving and with the purpose of being of service. So that's a substantial difference. We've been conditioned to believe that we are not creator, that we have to look at reality, and so we have to work hard in order to manifest whatever is needed for us to feel safe, for us to deal with scarcity. and also for us to feel better about ourselves. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, these are the mechanisms that are motivating humans to manifest so that I feel more accepted by society, or I feel more appreciated, I feel more love. So the more I have, the more I manifest stuff, and the more I am. That is the danger association that is created by the ego. The soul doesn't think like that. The soul doesn't come from a sense of lack. The soul comes from a sense of infinite abundance. And so the only reason why it wants to create is to be of service. So the question for the soul every time it does something or it chooses an experience is, how, by making this choice, how am I going to make a difference to life? This is the only thing that is relevant to the soul, together with how am I going to evolve by making this choice. So the evolution of the soul and the desire to be of service for life are the true and only reason why the soul exists and live. You know, because in the soul there is a profound recognition that there is no separation. We are all source, we are all one. So when I do an act of service, I serve everything, including myself, but everything that exists, because everything is love, everything is one. Well, manifesting sometimes, not always, but sometimes is based on separation. It's based on I want to be richer, I want to be more powerful, so that I can control situation, or I want to have more, so I feel safe, you know. So that's substantially the difference. And again, there is nothing wrong with manifestation. It's wonderful to manifest a beautiful house or a beautiful life, or whatever, you know, as long as you don't identify with the manifestation, with the object that you are manifesting, and you don't give to it the power to define you. Okay? And that's the trick where we fall often, not always, but often we fall into the trick. Again, the more I have, the more I am. You know, that's ego. So as we raise our level of consciousness, we recognize that there is much more value in creation than in manifestation. Also because as we raise our consciousness, we realize that we don't need much stuff in order to be in a state of joy.
So what I'm getting, and it's so beautiful, is that manifesting is, you said separation, so it's something we need or want for ourselves, whereas creation is expanding and giving and being of service to all.
Not only that, it's just creation is something that you crystallize that didn't exist before, because you used your imagination to create it. Manifestation is to attract to yourself something that already exists. And that's beautiful too, because it's important that we have our tools to create, that we have a shelter, that we have beautiful whatever, you know, comfort, because if we want to operate, we want to have this beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we go full power to our true essence, then we start to create, and that means that we, the product of our creation, of course, when the ego is not involved in it, and when there is no expectations, if it's a creation that is crystallized in a pure way, then this creation has an amazing impact in everything that exists. While manifesting something doesn't have so much impact, it has an impact on your ability to then create. So that's good, that's wonderful, all right? But it cannot be just the only thing that we are here. We didn't came here on the planet to manifest stuff that already exists. We came here because we were so excited about this creative process, and we want to play with it at the creation level, not at the manifestation level.
Oh, that's beautiful. So if we can go back for just a moment and we talk about evolving, how have you as a soul evolved since you were young and through your life until now? Have you seen your soul evolve in your experiences thus far?
Yes, we are all evolving in some manner or some other. There is not really a better soul or a more, you can say there is a more advanced soul, but outside from the duality game, there is not hierarchy. So there might be souls that are having experience in the low frequencies. And so they're experiencing a higher level of forgetfulness. And so they appear to be less evolved. Because their purpose is to embrace a higher level of forgetfulness so that they can have quite a more separative experience, because there is a lot to be learned from that, all right? And there are some souls that have a different purpose, and so based on their purpose, they calibrate the level of remembering and forgetfulness that they come to the operating system to have an experience with. So for some soul it's important to remember a little bit more, and so they do, and for some soul it's important to remember nothing and just start from the bottom. But that doesn't make a soul more or less advanced. It just souls that have different purposes, different intent, and so they choose to synchronize, to tune in with different level of forgetfulness or remembering.
But as far as Marco Missinato, what experiences have helped shape you and helped you to remember and to evolve to this point?
I had so far wonderful experiences since I came on Earth, and much earlier than that. My intent as a soul is to be of support, right at this time, on this transitioning time, this very intense transitioning time of humans, which could be compared very much like the caterpillar that became a butterfly. So a quite 360-degree change. Okay, so part of me sign up for being here to assist, and to do so I came here in a way that I didn't completely forgot everything. I forgot some, but I also maintained some level of remembering, because I had some standards and some purpose that I have to deal with. So of course, then you dig in deeply into the physical experience, and then for a moment you forget, you allow yourself to define yourself by the game, so you can really play the game and learn from it and understand how it is. And then when the time of your purpose approaches, then you start to remembering again, but now you can have empathy, because if I come here and I remember everything and I don't experience, for example, fear, I cannot help you if I don't understand. When you say I'm afraid, I don't understand what you mean. So I need to experience fear, I need to experience sadness, separation, whatever the game involves, so that then I can relate with you. And so when I am here to give you support, I can know how, because I have the experience. Right? So that's why it's very valuable to have moments in our life of forgetfulness.
Wow, that's really powerful. And that's kind of like to be non-judgmental. You were you're making a reference to a canvas as being source, and the colors and the lines and the textures all being different, but they're all one. And so people have a tendency to look at the colors and judge that color, or judge that texture. And why is it so important that we don't judge each other if we're all one? How do we understand and make it more visible to people that we're all one?
Who is it that judge? It's not the soul, it's the ego. The ego judges. Being judgmental create polarity, dualism, and create separation. One of the things that we need to go back to is to be neutral. And to be neutral, it doesn't mean to be passive. It doesn't mean to be indifferent. It means not allow our emotional charges to define us and to drive us. So neutrality or non-judging means not allow the other to be free to be wherever he needs to be in any given moment without me getting reactive to, by labeling as right, as wrong, as good, as bad, as light, as dark. All right? So yes, we can observe and discern, and so make a decision about the situation, but without the emotional charges that being judgmental carry on, So when we do not respond, we don't react through our emotional, we don't get lost into the ego. Because the low emotions, the reactive emotion, the defensive mechanism, it's all ego. The soul doesn't judge, it doesn't react emotionally. The soul chooses through discernment, through resonance and dissonance. However, whether he feels resonance or he feels dissonance, his love remains full. Okay? That is the difference. That's a key difference. So we need to learn to go back to the original love, which is a love that is the celebration of free will. It's not judgmental. That's one other thing that we need to embrace. We need to go back. We need to let go of this love that we've been experiencing so far until now, which is a beautiful love. It gave us so much emotions and so much experiences, but it was based on emotional swings, up and down, up and down. And so if I love you, I need you. Mm-hmm. If I love you, I worry about you. If I love you, I sacrifice for you. If I love you, I judge you. And if you don't behave in the way I feel is right or wrong, my love diminishes. So it's very conditional. So, and this is the love that we've been experiencing the last thousands of years, and is also very much reinforced from society. Most of the movies and the books, romantic books, are all based on this needy love, where I cannot live without you, and I got also conditions, and you better be like this or be like that, otherwise I get hurt, I get offended, or I get upset. And so when we find ourselves in front of someone that loves us through this reptilian mind love, all of a sudden our freedom diminished. That's a paradox. If I am in front of someone that loves me, my sense of freedom, of being who I am, should amplify. It shouldn't diminish, right? So that is the love that we've been experiencing until now, which is based on separation and scarcity and fear and all that. And now, if we want to go past that bridge and go to the new dream, we will have to let go this reptilian, Luciferian kind of loving and embrace the real love, which is the celebration of free will, where I say I love you and you are free.
So we talk a lot about the dream, and several years back I had this vision and the words came in front of me and it said the dream of the people. So we're all kind of dreaming together, right? We all kind of in the same dream. And is the dream the matrix? Or can you describe what the dream is, and then can you also describe what the game is that we're all playing?
Okay, everything is a dream. Whether you're asleep or you're awake, no matter where you tune in, which frequencies you tune in, you are living a dream. At the end of the dream, you're back to source. So we are all having a wonderful dream, or a variety of dreams. And because we are multi-dimensional beings, we are living diverse, different dreams simultaneously. Okay, the soul has multi-dimensionality, experience things in a multi-dimensional way, and so we have different dreams. And when we connect with our imagination, we connect with other versions of our dreams, from which we can gather informations for this dream. So everything is a dream and everything is a mirror. And about the game, we agree to dive in a specific dream that has specific rules, and just to play a game. It's like if you go in a club and you say, what do we play today? Okay, let's play some tennis. So we wear the shirt and the shoes and the pants, and we get the racket. So we are now prepared to go into the field, into the court, the tennis court, and play the game. And the game has some rules. There is a net, there is a limitation, right? Since you have to stay in that rectangular area, there is a ball that bounces in a certain way. There is gravity. And there is an opponent that give us back the ball in different ways. That's the rule of tennis game. And so we decide to play this dream. And then we might say, at a certain point, okay, that was a fun dream. You know what? I feel like I'm done with this. I learned what I need to learn. Now I want to go in the other court. I see people will play some soccer. So I'll see you later. And so now I take off the tennis clothing, and I put the soccer avatar, and I go in the field, and now we have a different game. There is a different ball, there is a different court, there's many people playing all together. There is a net where the ball has to go. So we change dream whenever we feel that we need to move on. And that is why we need to remove and let go of this idea of death, because there is no death. If I go from playing tennis to go to play soccer, I'm not dead. I just changed the game, and I'll see you later, right? So that is the game. And this game, the Earth game, has its own rules. It's a matrix, so all matrix have rules, have agreements. Some agreements are stretchable, flexible. Some are less flexible and stretchable. But we individually are the creators, so we can basically not only play the game, we can also change the game. And in fact, a small percentages of the planet, of the soul in the planet, came here to change the game. And those are the people, the soul, that are here to position themselves in the bridge between one dream and the other and allow whoever wants to cross the bridge to make the passage, to pass through. So, and that's a small percentage of the souls that are present in the planet.
We talk about remembering, and why is it so important to remember, and what are we trying to remember?
Well, the process of remembering is important when we are completed with a specific experience and we want to move on, and so we start to remember more and more who we are. In this specific case, and this time, in this specific dream, in this earthly experience, particular this time is important to remember who we are, because for about 10,000 years we've been completely lost into this other dream that is for the most sponsored by an artificial intelligence and supported by the ego. And we've been for so long playing this game that we lost completely our ability to discern, to the point that now we think that we are the ego. And because now we are preparing to, at the end of the cycle, we are preparing to a transition back to the original blueprint of what is the Earth experience. Now is important to start to remember who we are, because if we don't, it's like the caterpillar that keeps staying in the cocoon, but the cocoon is kind of shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and so we need to get out and remember that we are really butterflies. Or we can stay in the cocoon and continue the experience of the low frequencies, and some soul decide to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But right now we are a split, and so for those that desire, that have the intuitive desire to become the butterfly, of course it's important that they start to remember who we are, because we've been watching a movie for such a long time, and to the point where we believe that we are the movie. And now there is like a light that is turning on very rapidly, and we're starting to realize that we are in a theater and we are watching a movie. And very soon we will hear a voice that says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the show is over, it's time to move towards the exit," right? And that's the moment that we will have to start to not deny anymore that there is only this movie and there is nothing else. We need to start to embrace the possibility that we are much, much, much more than this movie that we have been watching for 10,000 years.
I know in the past you're not familiar talking about past lives or anything like that, but you do have memories of before you were born here, right? Are you comfortable with talking about some of the previous games that you played in other universes or other experiences before you were born? Are you comfortable with any of that?
Well, it's not a matter of comfortability. It is a matter, is it a support for me to share these informations, or is just an ego trip, you know? that's why I don't indulge into that. I rather to stay focused on Marco and what he's doing right now, because guess what? We are all coming from something else. We are all amazing being, and I try always to avoid to give the impression that I am special, or I am special. Of course I am special, but we are all special. So I don't want to feed again the ego by creating hierarchy. He's one of the few elected one. You know, those are. So I usually don't.
Label yourself as
I don't go too much into those stories. We all have amazing past, and it's not even past because past doesn't exist, but we have amazing other reality what we are experiencing. We all have amazing capabilities in our uniqueness. And when there will be the time that it will be needed, we will start to remember those capabilities so that we can move forward even with more self of empowerment.
No, I get that, but for purposes of me and you, say that's part of the remembering. And for us to say, okay, we need to remember who we are, we come from source, what if some of us can't imagine what that is? And even just a hint of something would tell people, oh, so that's what that's been, or something, without labeling yourself, well, I was a god, or it was this or that. Like, do you remember the birth process, or do you remember heaven, or do you remember any, like?
Yes, every time I connect with my imagination and my uniqueness, I tap into those informations so that I can create something. In my case, most of the time is music, or is a piece of art, or at this time is a communication like the one that is taking place right now. So when those situations occur, then I start to gather and connect with that kind of field so that I can bring it here and create. But I'm not, I don't indulge into, in another lifetime I was Archangel Michael, and then I was a famous, or I was a Pleiadian, or was, and I was, and you were too, because we all have been wearing an infinite multitude of avatars in other experiences, and some of these experiences have been very impactful to the point where some of us believe that, I'm not really from Earth, I'm Pleiadian. Well, no, you're not Pleiadian. You are a soul that had a Pleiadian experience and now is having an Earth experience. The reason why you're feeling that you are Pleiadian is because that experience as Pleiadian was so impactful to you and so amazingly beautiful that you feel such a connection to the point that with your mind you think that you are Pleiadian. But even Pleiadian is a label, like Earth is a label, because these are just avatar. But we went to the example of the playing tennis. Am I a tennis shirt with a racket and a pair of tennis shoes? I'm not. I'm just wearing that in order to play tennis. So we really are source. And we are souls. And then from there we embark in an infinite amount of dreams. And some dreams are so impactful that when we are in a state of forgetfulness or semi-forgetfulness, we have the tendency to recall those dreams that are most impactful. And sometimes we think that we are those dreams. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the truth is that we are beyond all the dreams.
Yeah, I get it. You're also very humble as well. And I think that it's important for all of us to remain humble so that we can stay in this experience. Otherwise, we'll just not want to be here. And that's one of the things somebody told me was, if we told you, like talking to a psychic or whoever, if I told you where you've been, you wouldn't want to be here. So in a way, it is important to just keep that over there so that we may remain present here. So that's between me and you. You talk about power of your heart and the voice of the heart. Is the heart like a flame? Is it like a burning generator? Is it like a hearth generator?
The heart is, in our avatar, the heart is where the soul is. So when we talk about the heart, we're talking about the soul. So when we say we open our heart, we're saying let's connect with our soul. So heart is the house where the soul resides in this avatar.
And the soul has a voice, and does it speak not necessarily through the area of the heart, but it speaks through the heart? Can you explain that a little more?
Well, we are soul, so in the original blueprint, the soul is supposed to be at the driver's seat of our avatar. It should be the one that navigate through the experience, and that's how it is normally. But in the last 10,000 years, we had this little tiny implant in the left brain, which is called ego, which purpose was for the artificial intelligence, the reptilian intelligence, to attempt to constantly distract us from being in our heart, being our soul, so that it can control us. And so the ego is nothing else but a storyteller. It's a device that is constantly creating past and future, past and future, past and future, and most of the time, if not always, is based on contraction. It's based on low frequencies, it's based on fear, it's based on separation, it's based on sense of lack, need of control. And sometimes it gives us also positive emotions, but those emotions are part of the range of the emotion of the ego. And so when I'm joyful from the ego point of view, the joy that I'm experiencing, in order to justify its existence, needs the opposite, which is anguish. So all the emotion that we experience through the ego have opposites. That's why it constantly swing from one to another, up and down. While when we have the soul that navigates, when we as soul navigates with experience, we don't have all these emotional swings. We have emotions, beautiful emotions like joy, excitement, appreciation, enthusiasm, care, but these are pure emotions, do not have a hidden agenda. They don't come from lack, they don't come from separation, they don't come from the need of the idea of self-destruction, because that's what the ego wants, ultimately wants self-destruction. So that is the difference between the emotions of the soul and the emotions of the ego. Once we go back, in order to go back to the original blueprint, to start a new cycle in this amazing journey called Earth, we need to switch from the ego being the driver. The soul needs to be there, so that our essence that is operating. So it's very important that we do so. And so right now we are in the next few months and maybe a couple of years, we are addressing all those ego situations that we've been creating and manifesting in our life for thousands of years, generation after generation. All these ego manifestations that are mostly dark are coming to the surface so that we can look at all of them. That is why I created a record, an album called Unfolding Secrets a few years ago, because I knew that this time was coming where all the secrets needs to unfold. So all the shadows needs to come to the table so we can look at them, and then we can make a choice. Do we still want to play the game of the shadows, or do we want to move and play the game of the new cycle? And if we want to go towards the new game, we will have to look at these beautiful shadows that gave us amazing experience, feel appreciation for what they've given to us, and then let them go through love. That's the only way where we can pass through this phase. For as long as we keep judging, the light as good and the dark as bad, we keep validating the game. We keep validating the battle, the war between good and bad, the eternal, perpetual battle between light and dark, which many movies sponsor all the time, which never ends. It never ends just because we are keeping validating it by judging it. So what we need to do now is to come to a level of consciousness where we appreciate the game in all its expressions. So we appreciate the light, we appreciate the darkness, we appreciate the good, the bad, and the evil, and the ugly, and we appreciate all, because it's just a game, and we are just having an amazing experience. So it's only through that appreciation that we can pass through the duality game and go to the next dream. And that's the love that we need to embrace right now, the love of appreciating and not judging everything, appreciating everything for what it is.